Welcome to another episode of Broken Arrow Pulse. It's Native American Heritage Month, November. So we have some very special guests with us today. Yazzie, tell us about them.
You're right, Chris. Today we have,
Mrs. Docto.
And Braden Beach.
and today they're here to celebrate Native American Heritage Month with us.
Yep.
Can y'all just tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do and anything else?
So I am a senior at Broken Arrow High School, and I am both Creek and Seminole, but I'm enrolled in Creek.
Creek
I
too.
play lacrosse, and occasionally I go to a native church and play stickball.
That's awesome.
How about you, Miss Doctor?
I'm Mrs. Docto. I am formerly an English teacher that moved into the Indian education program in Broken Arrow several years ago. Here on campus, my official title is the Youth Development Specialist, but I always just tell everybody I'm an additional resource for all of our Native students on campus.
Okay. I always thought of you as kind of just like a native counselor.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, since we know a little bit more about you guys, we're gonna get into a little interview part, right?
Sounds good.
Okay. So, first question: which term is more appropriate? Native American,
Or
American Indian, or Alaskan Native, Eskimo, all that stuff too.
For me, honestly, I think it's none of those. I think what most people agree now is the most appropriate term would be indigenous people.
Indigenous. Yep.
I completely agree. Braden and I kind of tossed this around earlier, especially with the younger people. Terminology is changing. What's more socially acceptable? I really don't think that many people are offended by the term Indian or Native American, or
Right.
even for a while, American Indian
Right.
was very acceptable. But there has been a shift to move to possibly like indigenous. So we're
Right.
actually even looking at that as far as a name change for our program.
Right. Okay. So indigenous.
Indigenous.
How about you? You got anything?
What are some tribal colleges and where can we attend them or who can attend them?
Okay, well, I can, and Braden, I definitely want to hear your experience as the student, but let me just say that this is a big part of my job here on campus is to help direct Native students towards scholarships, college opportunities, things like that. So if you are on my Indian education roster and get those messages, please pay attention because we just put out so much good information and so many good opportunities for you guys. There are scholarship opportunities within your tribe. So depending on which tribe you are, we've got links for that information. And then there's generic Native American scholarships, and I have links for all of those things in our announcements. Tribal colleges. So the one that's most in our region is Haskell Indian Nations University. It's in Lawrence, Kansas.
Yep.
And I know that some of you, I'm thinking, might be interested in visiting there and possibly even attending. We do have some Broken Arrow kids there right now. It's an amazing opportunity. If you are out there and you're Native American and you do not know how you're going to go to college, please come talk to us.
So I have a question.
Yes,
Is it just Native Americans that can get in,
That
or
is-
like who all can get in?
that is a really good question, Chris, and I was going to take a look at that. I am going to say I do not think that it's just exclusive to Native Americans, but
Okay.
we can certainly, and that's one of those things that if you guys come to me with questions, I can look into all of that. It's extremely affordable, especially for Natives. Just the living, the cost of everything there, and it happens to sit next to KU.
KU.
So there's a big college atmosphere there in Lawrence and
Yep.
a lot going on there. So definitely something that we can help you guys look at.
Then, as far as the student side goes, I'm actually looking to go to Haskell Indian College in Lawrence. One, just because I think they offer a lot of great resources for Native students, as well as most of it, for me at least, will be paid for. So my plan right now is to go and get my basics out of the way for, go for 2 or 3 years, and then transfer to either KU or OSU to further my computer engineering degree, which I'm currently looking into.
Ooh, computer engineering.
Yeah.
What all goes with that?
I mean, a lot of it, uh, there's a bunch of different sides to it. So right now, I'm probably looking for more like the I guess, like coding and tech support part side of it.
So
Okay.
technical engineer.
hmm
Okay.
Originally, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, but after talking to some experts and some friends that are in the field, they say that most businesses aren't even hiring or looking to hire mechanical engineers anymore since everything's going more digital. They want
Yeah.
computer engineers.
Wow. That makes sense. Definitely
Yes,
makes sense.
definitely. There are a couple of other in the regions. We just recently, outside of our region, excuse me, we just recently had IAIA, which stands for Institute of American Indian Arts, come out and speak with us. Incredible opportunity for anybody
Okay.
that is somewhat artistic, and that could be creative writing, that could be
Okay.
museum studies, that could be
Right.
dance, art, out in Santa Fe. And you
Okay.
can
Santa
head
Fe.
out there, and the culture is so rich. There is just so much to do there, and their campus participates in all of the things that people would be interested in out in the Southwest.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the differences between tribes? Like, what makes one tribe different than another? Like you said, you were like Seminole, right?
Seminole and
Seminole and
Creek.
Creek. What makes those different?
Um, for me, some of it is just like a lot of the culture is the same, but at the same time, there's key differences between all of them.
Okay.
And as a former Indian Ed student, we kind of went in depth into the differences between them. You also have like the baseline stuff where certain tribes, for their students and the people of those tribes, they get different benefits. Like I know that Cherokee, as opposed to Creek, they get free hunting and fishing licenses.
Okay.
So it can be as simple as that, and then it can be, on the topic of like schooling, it can be like scholarships and
Mhm.
things you look into like that.
Definitely have different benefits, and I should have introduced myself as Cherokee when we started. Braden just reminded me when he said what tribe he was. Um, Lots of different opportunities, but so the main things would be different languages. I think would be
Right.
like the base level big
Right.
difference. So yes, they do all have their own languages, and I would say overall not a lot of crossover. So
Really.
definitely have that individual language. And interesting little bit of trivia: when the last native speaker passes away, that tribe is no longer federally recognized. So there is a big push right
Wow.
now for native language revitalization.
Mhm.
And there are even free classes out there that you can take for Cherokee or Muskogee to try to keep that language preserved and keep going.
I know the Muskogee one has one
Absolutely.
because me and my mom have been doing that.
Good.
Like word of the day stuff.
Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
did that in my class. So Braden was in my Indian Ed class in middle school, and absolutely, we prepared for the Muskogee Creek Nation Challenge Bowl, and we learned quite a bit of the language. So,
Yeah. As far as the language side of it goes, it is really interesting, but at the same time, I feel like one of the problems with the uh, revitalization of the language is that, for schooling, we have to take um, foreign language courses, uh, but a lot of the native languages aren't recognized as foreign languages, which
True.
makes it a pain. Like I took 3 years of language through Indian Ed, and
And now you have to choose a different one because
yeah,
they don't
I had
see
to go
it.
and take a computers course to
Yeah.
make
Wow.
up for my missed language.
Dang.
I'm actually so glad that he brought that up because we are working on that. We are
Okay.
working very diligently on that.
Okay.
And in the near future, we have huge expectations to be able to bring at least one, if not two, native languages into the school, and it be an
Ooh,
elective. Yes.
That's a
So
W.
yeah, we're definitely working on that right now,
That's a W.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great because, like you said, he had took 3 years of that language and he had to go take another course because he couldn't get those credits.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right, next question is going to be about, have y'all heard about the Killers of the Flower Moon and the Osage murders and all that?
I've heard of the book that all of that's based around. So, but as far as that, I know that there's a movie and stuff coming up, but outside of that, I haven't looked super far into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the book is fantastic. It really just everybody
I have to
has.
go read it.
It's really, really good. So I have read the book, and then this year, at the beginning of the school year, our Indian Education Department got to go and listen to the author, and that was
Wow.
that was so interesting.
Wow.
So David Gran is the author of Killers of the Flower Moon, and yes, if you've seen in the news, Martin Scorsese is producing the film. They filmed right here in Oklahoma, Pawhuska,
Wow.
was kind of turned into, an old timey Osage town, and Leonardo DiCaprio. So it's going to be a
That's
big
awesome.
thing. And
That's
what's so
awesome.
cool about that is it's going to shine a light on something in pop culture that a lot of people will see and be interested in, that
Right.
is part of our history that has
Right.
not been explored.
Right.
So, yes.
Kind of like when they made was it Res Boys or something like that?
Oh, Reservation Dogs.
Reservation Dogs.
Reservation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is super popular right now.
Mhm.
Braden, have you watched?
Yeah, I've watched
Okay,
most of it.
good. So
Yeah.
he knows more about it than I do, but it has been hugely popular and keeps getting picked up for
Mhm.
another
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting. I actually had I talked to a friend uh, a while back, and their one of their cousins was actually in it.
Nice.
Wow. That's cool.
He got to, he went and tried out. He, didn't quit his job, but he took time off work from bagging groceries to go and try out, and he got the part.
That is
Hey.
so
It was
cool.
really interesting.
So
What?
that was great because they did use a lot of locals,
Yes.
as extras in the
That's
movies.
a W.
And
yeah.
if you guys went way back in time, like old TV, old
Mhm.
movies, they didn't even use natives to play native roles. So we
Yeah.
have progressed, thank goodness,
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
And we are filming in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
We are
that's awesome.
filming real natives. We
Yeah.
are bringing these stories out. The Osage murders is what that is based on,
Yeah.
and it is a huge, interesting story in our history.
So going more on that, wasn't it like something about they removed like
They
somewhere.
moved to like an oil
Right.
field, and then
Right.
like a whole bunch of like settlers and Europeans that came. They found out like it was on an oil reservation. At first, when they moved them there, they didn't know.
Right.
And then once they found out, they basically called them stupid and made like a whole joke about them, which was not a great thing. But basically, like they kept their money from them. Like they let them have the money, but they like controlled how much they got, and it was very, very little. And then as like it went on, they wanted the land more, so then they started killing people off to get that land.
So the Osage people, when it was discovered that they were on this, mineral rich land, it became the richest area
Right.
immediately. And they would have to, the Osage people would have to have a caretaker that allowed them permission to spend their money. And of course,
Wow.
that was a white person.
Yeah.
And so scheming, criminal activity,
Mhm.
they started trying to find ways to benefit from that money that was not rightfully theirs.
That's so
Great
unfortunate.
story. Lots to learn from it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Braden, you have anything to
I mean, we just about covered most of it. I mean, you got to, and on that side of history, you got to take the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
good that it's all coming out.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking of the good, what's your favorite native meal?
My
Oh.
favorite native meal.
Should we say it at the same time?
I
It's
mean,
going to be
yeah,
Indian
sure.
tacos, right?
I
mean,
really, yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves. Chris hasn't had them.
I haven't.
You haven't.
I'm
Oh,
blown
jeez, you're missing out.
away.
You're missing out.
So fry bread, and then you
Yeah.
do all of the taco toppings on it. But I mean, there are other things.
Yeah, I also really like grape dumplings. I like the
Grape
sweetness
dumplings
that's
are
with
those are
them.
the two I've
I like the
heard.
texture.
I am
Those are the two I've
literally
heard.
going.
He
from
hasn't
here.
tried those either.
I haven't tried them.
Oh,
He
Chris.
hasn't tried
Oh,
any
okay.
native meals.
We
this
will.
new
Not much.
I will
class.
bring some. Okay,
Okay,
I will
yeah.
bring some. So tonight we have a cultural night,
Yes.
and I hope that some of you are able to make it because by the time this airs, we will have had it already.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Just watch those announcements. Watch for things that are going on in the area. But yeah, I'm going to make grape dumplings with Miss Bogart right after this.
Nice.
So yes, so we'll
Really
make sure
good.
you get some to try.
Can't wait. Are you gonna
Mm-hmm.
be there tonight?
I'm gonna try to make it. It's over at Oneida. Where I went
What
to middle
time?
school at.
6 to 8.
6
6
to
to
8.
8. It's going to be a good time.
Okay.
What are your favorite type of things in your culture?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite things in my culture. I would like to say that it started when I was pretty young, because my mother's side is more native than my father's side is, and when I was younger, they took me out to a native, what I can best describe as a native church out in Bixby, that's owned by my mom's side of the family. It's all hand built. It's a great place to be. They have service, and then we all eat together, and they're making native dishes all the time, and
How
that
did that
food is really good.
start?
You got to go back a couple of generations. probably to my second or third great grandfather. But they all hand built it. Like if you look at the property, there's like cemetery that they dug out. Then they have essentially the house where we have meals, and then they have the actual church itself. And while the food is really good and one of my favorite parts, just because I like to eat, another part of it is that you get to see all the tribes coming together because it's not exclusive to one tribe. But while it's not exclusive, they do a very interesting thing where the first half of the service is in English, and then the other half is in Muskogee. So they have both English Bibles and scriptures, and then they have the entirety of the Bible written in Muskogee.
That's
Oh, that's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
getting to sit in there and listen to the elders talk is amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's a great experience, and I love being there. I have a bunch of cousins that they look more native than I do, and they're just so much fun to be around. And then I said on the side that occasionally I try to pick up and go play stickball because I play lacrosse, and lacrosse is somewhat derived from
Yeah.
stickball.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a more difficult game, but it's a lot of fun.
And Braden has had an opportunity that truly I didn't, and it's really interesting because a lot of people my age, their generations before them had moved away from the native
Right.
culture.
That's how it was for my
So
grandpa and
yes,
them.
yes. So I mean, if you go back in history, you can see where it happened, why it happened. Signing the Dawes rolls, and
Mhm.
a lot of native children were taken and put in boarding schools to make them assimilate into white society.
Mhm.
So really, truly, there are families that didn't, and there were families that did, and mine did. So I really always encourage you guys to talk to your elders that are around because mine are gone. And so I'm trying on my own to kind of move
Get
back
back
into
into it.
this. And I
Yeah.
and I
Right.
take my children and my grandchildren now, to native events and to cultural things, trying to kind of learn about it and get back into that because it is such an important part of our history.
Have you ever been to a powwow?
Absolutely.
Yes, I have been a couple of times. One with some of my friends who are native, and then just because I wanted to go and see what it was all about.
Now,
Uh,
correct me if I'm wrong, but you probably attend more stomp dances than powwows, right?
Yeah, I've
That's
I've
oh,
been to more stomp
that's
dances than I
more
have
a part
powwows.
of the Muskogee
okay.
Yeah.
tribe, and
Okay.
then powwows. The usually I attend some like with our Indian Ed
Mhm.
unit,
Mhm.
but otherwise out in Tahlequah during like the Heritage Month and things like that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, our last segment of the day is gonna be a quick little game. Would you rather?
Okay.
Okay.
So how we're gonna play it is we're just gonna first person is gonna say their would you rather. We're all just gonna answer it. It'll just be on the spot.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I can. And Chris, I'm sorry. I know you haven't had any of the native dishes, but after we talked, would you guys rather have Indian tacos or grape dumplings?
Indian
And
tacos,
it,
cause my
Probably.
mom like makes hers like fresh.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Mm,
Indian
probably
tacos.
Indian tacos.
Indian
Yeah,
tacos. Yeah,
That
that's
probably fill
same.
yeah,
me up more.
it would. The other is a dessert.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so would you rather live in the city or live like straight country, like horses on a farm?
Uh,
since you put all that in there, city.
I don't know. I think I'd go country.
I like
I live out
country.
kind of by
You kind of
myself on
Right.
do,
on
yeah.
a good plot of land, and I mean
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's so peaceful being out there by all by ourselves.
I hear you.
That's
I
how
love
I
the
am.
atmosphere, but I want convenience of things being around. So
Would you rather live alone or with a huge group of family?
Mm.
That's a tough one, just because as much as I love my family, it can get really hectic, especially when a large group of people is under one roof.
Facts.
So I'd probably have to say by myself.
But living by yourself would be like that'd be so boring, bro.
yeah, I'll,
Yeah.
I'll go with big family. Just
Okay.
experience of. Sometimes you want to be alone, but more often with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I'm about to go big family too.
Big family. Yeah. Oh man, do I have to do one now?
Yo.
Yeah, you're up.
I thought you were going to ask all the would you rather's. Okay.
No, you got it.
Would you rather um, attend a small college for free or a big university and pay the bill?
Small college for free.
Small college.
Yeah, small college
Oh
for
my
free. Well, I
gosh.
feel like most smaller colleges, they just have a better atmosphere than a lot of the
It
larger.
feels like you're all like family there when you have a smaller
Right.
college and you
I
know like
Yeah.
everybody
completely
on
agree.
campus.
I completely agree. And it's really interesting for me seeing you guys who come from a really large high school saying that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
That's probably why.
It's kind of like we don't know a lot of people here. So like when
Yeah,
you meet
exactly.
new
You get more
people,
plugged
it's
in.
like, oh, we don't know that person. Oh,
Exactly.
that's who they
I
are.
always hear my
However.
dad talk the praises of smaller schools because
Mhm.
when he lived in Kansas, I mean, I think his graduating class was like 48.
Wow.
It was,
Right,
it was
bro. That's
tiny.
like
Yeah.
perfect.
And I graduated with 1,000 from Broken Arrow. So,
Like-
but I will say, and we have to give props to all of the opportunities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
for
big
sure.
school. I have nieces in Pennsylvania, tiny school, and every senior goes to every class all day together. There's
Oh,
no extra
jeez.
electives, right?
Yeah, see,
You
that
would
would
not
get
like
kinda
that.
annoying.
Yeah,
You would
that
not
would
like
be
that.
terrible.
So,
That, and
yeah,
I always hear
tons
that
of opportunities
people
here.
are always just saying, yeah, bigger schools, they
Yep.
tend to prepare you better for college just because it's the rigor is there,
Yes, it
as
is.
opposed to a lot of these smaller schools, since they want their entire small class to pass, the rigor
Yeah.
isn't as tough as it is at Broken
And
Arrow.
there just aren't the
That makes
variety of
sense.
classes.
Yeah, there's
they
not
just
as
don't have
much,
it.
'cause-
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cool.
Okay, well, it was really good talking to you guys. Happy Native American Month.
Thank you.
Same to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Great.
us. It
Thank
was
you for
great.
having us.
For sure.